Good morning, everyone. I have a project to share with you. This was totally inspired by a vampire glue book, I think is what he called it, by Victor Crafter. I will link his video in the description box below, so make sure you go check it out. I thought his book was really cool, and since I had some of the same printouts that he did, I thought I could use a few of those in my project and have it turn out hopefully almost as awesome as his, because his is just really, really cool. He had some great imagery. The only thing I have not done is the cover. I do know I want to use this paper. This paper it's called Smoke Suede Hot Off the Press Ink, is what it was. This was on clearance. I do believe at like Hobby Lobby or maybe even Michael's, but it's this paper that feels and looks like suede. So I'm going to cut a piece for the front and the back, and then because it's not big enough to go all the way around, but I'll cut a piece for the front and the back, and then I'll add something here to cover up the old book name. But I wanted to do something else on it with like maybe some metal embellishments or something, and so I had not decided completely on that, and I also hadn't decided if I wanted to add some kind of ribbon closure here. So I was holding off till I made my final decision. Alright, so let's get into it. I'm not going to obviously show you how I made the book. It's pretty simple. You take your... grab one real quick. You take a used book and you cut the book block out, and you do that by... you take the very last page that's in there and you pull it to the side, and then you bend the book like this, and it exposes that little edge, and you cut it loose from the rest of the book, and then you have just the cover. Now, how you choose to put your inserts, signatures and all that in your book is up to you, but for me in particular, I made these different pages using black and a couple different types of tan cardstock, and then I folded them in half, of course, and then after folding them in half, I took 2 sets of the folded paper, so 4 pages total. I don't know how well you can see the black ones. Let's show you with the brown. So these 4 here is technically 2 pieces of paper. And then I cut small strips of paper so I could connect these 2 together. I don't know if you can even tell. There's right there, see the little paper? And that way, when I glued it in, it was only 1 piece of paper being attached to the back rather than 2 pieces. I thought that might help me out a little bit when it came down to making sure it stuck. I started off with some Yes paste. I guess I didn't use enough because I had some issues with some of the pages not staying. I have subsequently crammed in several different glues in there, including some E6000 and some Elmer's, and I'm hoping it's finally stuck in there now. Before I put the pages into the book, excuse me, I glued this piece of ribbon to the edge of the spine on the inside. And that way when the pages went in, they covered up where that was at. And then the glue, of course, would hold them in, and then you can poke those wherever you like. As far as the printouts I used, I got them from several different locations. I really don't remember all of the places I managed to get images from, because I had downloaded these probably over a year ago, because I had an idea for making some kind of Halloween inspired book and just never got around to doing it. I do have a couple of links that I remember for where you can find some of these, and I will put them in the description box below. Alright, on to the inside. I used a map for the front and the back, just as the interior, page decoration, because it was a nice size and it fit in there really well. And on every single paper I added to the book, I used my distress tool and my distressed ink pad with the same thing, and the color I used was walnut stain. I just went around the edges of the pages to give them that darkened look, as if you had been constantly touching it. One of the other things I used was, and now here it is, I used the ink block flare I showed in a previous video. I used these two here with the color of Saddle Brown Stays On, and I'll show you some of those when we come across them, but it just added some splots on the pages. Another thing I did is I roughed up the edges of the pages, and hopefully you can see that. Let me show you closer. See how the pages are roughed up? The first couple pages I started off by tearing, and that got to be quite annoying. So later on in the book, they're more like this. And it's just a little bit roughed up. And I achieved that by using the Tim Holtz little roughing up edger tool thingy. It's got a little blade inside these slots, and you just run it along the edge of your paper like this. And it jags up the little edge there for you. Alright, so page 1's a map. This was part of a Vampire Diary, I believe. I didn't use all the pages. A lot of the pages had faces and people like they'd been hunted. Vampire Hunter's Diary, remember what it's called. But like I said, I'll put the link in the bottom. So I just picked out certain ones I thought would look good in here and ignored the rest. And then this was something that came to that. I created a little pocket here for it. This still needs to be glued together, but I trimmed it so when I closed it, the little words would overlap, you know, properly. It used to have an edge on it like this. So I just left that one edge on, trimmed it so it would fit, and then, you know, that opens up to be this cool map. Because you, of course, if you're carrying this around doing your job, you need to know where you're going, right? Take notes about your, who you're hunting or whatever. I think I will go through and add some more little doodads here and there, but for the most part this has all paper parts added to it. This is a page from that Vampire Diary thing. I added a piece here and here of my own scrapbook paper. I have no idea what line that's from. This I found from some random, I think it's Graphics Fairy actually. Graphics Fairy website. So this was connected together. I just trimmed it out. There's another part from that Vampire Diary. This was actually a 12 by 12 piece of paper that I cut up. They were all connected like this. There was 6 total, I believe, 6 or 8. So the backs were blank. And they usually are nice and smooth, obviously, because you cut them. If you hear some jangling around, that's my cat. She's having some fun under the table. And in a similar effort to make it look beat up a little bit, I actually wet the edges of these pages with this little pen I got from, I think it was Tuesday Mornings. This is a pen you use for removing, it's supposed to be used for removing marks when you're marking up a sewing project, and water removes the ink. And it works great for all kinds of things, including being very detailed on the edge. So I roughed up the edge. I don't know how well it'll show up. Roughed it up, and then I went along and inked it. So it's got this little beat up look to it here. And these are just, the script in the background of the scrapbook paper just kind of looked like someone maybe had written some notes. Here's those splats I was mentioning would be in here. And I just went around and randomly added them on before adding in the papers. Also, in between the two different, you know, signatures where each 4 pages intersect, sometimes I had a little gap that didn't want to cooperate properly. So I just added a bit of this neat washi tape. I have no idea what brand that's supposed to be, but it's this really cool black and purple damask look. And then we have some more matte parts. And here's a creepy old house. George Brown grave in New England. So actually it's not a house, it's a church with a graveyard. I should learn to read. Another bit. So these blank parts, you know, obviously this person who might be carrying this around would have a place to add some journaling. I don't think I'm going to journal in it for them because I don't like my handwriting. But this right here is part of a printable set that I purchased, and right now I cannot think of her name. but I will link her in the bottom, so if you want to go try and purchase that. She has tons of awesome printables, and this one in particular had nothing to do with vampires or Halloween. It just, the look of it felt like it would match with what I was doing. This is actually a piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper from a Mambi set, Me and My Big Ideas, and I just cut it down to fit. This part right here was a printout of assorted images, and I just chose a few that I thought would look nice in the book. And so there's another page from that vampire diary. This right here is just a page from, I think it's Martha Stewart Scrapbook Papers. So the little bugs have some glossy stuff to them. The back of this paper has some blood splats, and I'll show you some of that in a little while. Another piece from that vampire thing. I ran across some skeleton hands as I was doing other projects, and I thought it would be fun to fussy cut the hand out, and I have another one over here, so it's actually like doop-doop. Thought that would be kind of fun. And then inside there we have another piece of that faux journal, and then some other cutouts from projects, or not projects, but printable sheets. This is just on copy paper. So this one says Truth Serum on it. The creepy face there was kind of cool. There's the other hand. This was a printout, a freebie from, I don't know who. This right here is another piece of that Martha Stewart, I believe, paper. I may be wrong, but I thought it might have been hers. It's not actually still in the packaging. So if you know it by something else, feel free to correct me. Another little piece there. And then we have, this is from that same paper, that other, this line here, it's the same line, just another sheet of the paper. So I just cut out specific elements and threw them in there. There's another one from that one set. More of those. Some random little parts. Here's where my bookmarks lay at the moment. Another piece of that paper. I like how the script is glossy on it. The map. Another piece of that skeleton paper. And then here I use that, this is that bug paper but flipped over. So it has a bit of the splats. Maybe that's a ink or blood sample someone gathered, right? Another little map. This one here is came from part of that skeleton paper. It was a border, or a top part actually. And when I had to cut it off to get the other piece, I thought it was too nice to chuck, so I trimmed it down so it would fit here. And this actually is a pocket where something can be added. In fact, I'll just leave that in there for now. Another bit of information, maybe a letter someone found. This here is supposed to be a bottle label, I'm guessing. And then I just tucked a couple of those little papers in there like that. And then we have a creepy picture. I do believe this is the entrance to a college in England. I'll have to look at the information. I thought it was nice and spooky looking though, so it'd go well in here. More of those papers. Same here. This was supposed to be in that vampire book. In fact, I think that's supposed to be the cover, but obviously I didn't need it. More different little printouts. Another kooky map. I think that's, nope. See, it resembles, yeah, it's that same map. I just had it printed smaller. More little elements. This one's got some fun little skeleton people, arsenic liquor. And another set of skeleton hands. I think I want to find something I can have them look like they're holding, maybe. Thought that was kind of fun. Green Thumb Elixir. This is also from that same person whose packet I purchased. That's all the same set as the other ones you saw. Just really neat looking. I just thought they looked really good in here. And then there's the back cover. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing my version of a spooky book for Halloween. A little element you can put out for decoration. And look for Victor's video link in the description below, and hope both of our videos inspire you to make something for yourself of a similar nature. If you are not already a subscriber, you can click that subscribe button down there somewhere. And please like and share with your friends. And we'll see you next time. Bye.